We're inside the home of a champion, the home of a young woman who refused to give up her dream, even after she received an alarming wake-up call.
Tell me about your first memories of skiing when you were a little girl, 3 years old, going out on the mountain the first time.
I remember actually, before even going on the mountain, walking around at the base of the hill. My parents, when I was really young, put me on skis and just had me kind of walk around to get the feel of it and remember that. And then the memory's kind of blurry, but I do remember being out. I think I remember spending more time in drinking hot chocolate than actually on the hill. I remember every Saturday morning waking up and not getting to watch cartoons as long as I wanted to, but getting out on the hill and playing and just being in ski school or student ski team. And that's how I grew up, every weekend.
Now, when was the first time that you really thought seriously about competing in the Olympics?
I think I knew right at a young age. I told my mom when I was 8 years old that God made me to be a ski racer, and I vowed that one day I was going to ski race in the Olympics.
That's great.
And I was fortunate because I was good, and I started winning when I started racing at young ages. And I could just let it go, and at a young age I would go out there and ski fast and win. And I think from that moment it was like, I like winning, I want to go out and keep doing this. So I think from there, and then as I proceeded to progress and get better, I would focus down and I made the steps, the usual progression along.
Right.
And looked at, hoping to make the U.S. ski team and then hoping to represent my country in the Olympics.
Muffy, take me back to February 18th, 1989, the day of the accident. What happened?
It was an early morning, one of those, like I said, early morning trainings. It was a Saturday morning. In fact, the night before had been a Steve Miller concert for a benefit for the Ski Education Foundation, and I decided I left early because I had to go to downhill training the next morning and needed to get some sleep. Woke up, and it had been kind of an overcast day. So there were low-lying clouds. We'd had about 3 or 4 inches of snow the night before, and it was still kind of hanging around. I drove my brother. My brother came with me to ski team because he was on the C team, and came into training. So we got in the car and went to the mountain, and it was a typical morning. Got up there. Everything was kind of running a little late, so we're all hurrying around and rushing. But I got up on the mountain, and I guess the snow condition had been different on the hill that we usually used, and it wasn't the best condition, they thought, for downhill training. So they set a different course than they usually set, which went through a cat track that had a acute left-hand turn. And that's actually where I ended up going off. But we went up, set the course, slipped the course, and then we're getting ready to take the first training run. I was the 3rd person to go down the course, the first female. I was one of the most experienced racers there. I was one of the older ones and one of the more experienced racers. And I was just, all the conditions put together didn't work out. I was on 2 15-centimeter skis. It was real soft snow. It was an acute turn. It was greater than 90-degree angle turn, and just all those, and on a very narrow, it was a cat track, about 19 feet wide. I just was unable to hold the radius of the turn, and at the apex, my ski left the cat track, and I went into the fence, which stopped my lower body, which probably saved my life, so I didn't hit the tree's chest first.
Now, Muffy, how fast were you going?
Well, that's been disputed, but it's anywhere from 35 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour, somewhere in that range. Fast enough to go off the cat track, fly 15 feet, hit a tree, bounce off of that tree, fly 5 more feet, and hit another tree and shatter.
Oh, this is what I got to show. I cannot believe this. And this is very thick inside, but it's cracked all the way inside.
It definitely saved my life.
Muffy's tragic accident left her paralyzed from the chest down. We talked about the time right after and the emotional challenges that now faced her.
Yeah, there were a lot of times when I just, no determination, wanted to die, just end it now. It's too hard. But thank God I had the support system that I did.
Her support system included the entire community of Sun Valley, her father, 2 brothers, and one of her most influential role models, her mother.
Well, I think after the accident, we were always very close, but after her accident, we really became very special friends, which is a wonderful thing to be able to have your daughter be your very, very special best friend. And I learned that Muffy is just full of joy, full of terrific energy. And she, you know, there's nothing that she, when she puts her mind to it, that she can't do.
Okay, now you got to talk about the beauty pageant.
I was, I believe, a junior in high school, and I got a letter, which was the custom they send out to all probably high school girls at this school, that said, we want you to be a contestant in this Miss America co-ed pageant. And I got it, and I go to Mom, ha ha, look how they want me in a beauty pageant, ha ha. And Mom said,
I said, well, why don't you be in it? Why don't you enter? You've never tried this before. You're an excellent public speaker. And why don't you try it? See what happens.
And what was your reaction when she said that?
I guess I thought again, like, okay. So I wrote him a letter, and I sent the application in, and I said, I'm a paraplegic, and I'm in a wheelchair. Would that still be okay? And they sent the nicest letter back saying, we definitely want you as part of it, and please come and be involved in it.
And so when did this happen? What year was this?
This was, let's see, 90.
In 90? So you went into the beauty pageant. What happened?
They put up ramps for her, and they made it very accessible. You were very well received. She looked great.
I got Miss Congeniality.
Yes.
That's not a big surprise.
No.
We got the mother-daughter look-alike.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
that was
great.
a fun one.
And second runner-up. Not bad.
Hey.
No, actually afterwards the judges were very nice, and they came up and they said, you should think about doing this more professionally or what. And it was just one of those things. It was a great confidence boost. It was something Mom challenged me to try it.
Yeah.
And I'm always one up for a challenge, and it was great. And the women, the whole pageant it was a good experience.
It seems like your mom has been challenging you for a long time.
Always there for a challenge.
I think it was really important, especially after an injury of this magnitude, that Muffy realized that life does go on, and she's not really damaged, and that she didn't feel like damaged goods, that she felt like she was whole, complete, and just as perfect as she ever was, and that all things were really possible. We might just have to approach them in a little different way. And so from that point of view, we went forward with pretty much everything.
I think it's great. The story, one of my favorite stories when I met you guys is when you went to rehab and to see her, and you said that she was depressed.
Yes.
And down. What did you do?
She was in the rehab hospital for 3 months, and it's not exactly the happiest place in the world, although it was filled with many, many good people. Still, I could see that she was getting down and feeling a little depressed, and so I was trying to think of what could we do, and I said, you know, this really isn't much fun. We really need to be at the beach. And she said, what? The beach? And I said, yes. I said, I think we need to be on the beach, laying in the sand with the sun on us. What do you think about that? And she thought, well.
What teenager doesn't want to be at the beach?
Did you think your mom was crazy?
Yeah.
Well, she is kind of crazy, but that's what I love about her. No, I mean, I was game for anything. Definitely.
So I began to set the wheels in motion so that we would leave the rehab hospital and go directly to Mazatlan. And talked it over with the rest of the family, and of course they thought I was nuts too, but they liked the idea of going to the beach. So we talked to the physical therapist and learned the different transfers to get in and out of aircraft, and we proceeded.
So what happened? So you...
Everything happened. The biggest learning process.
Yes.
I mean, it was, in hindsight, it was a great experience, but the whole week was just one catastrophe after another, learning. We should have chose Hawaii, where the American laws apply and stuff. In Mexico, none of the rules apply. There was no aisle chair. My wheelchair got taken by another woman rolling around the airport. My parents had to carry me out of the plane because there was no one there. They didn't know what to do either. No curb cutouts. This little guy riding on the street in his motorcycle came, saw my mom trying to get me up this curb, and he couldn't do it, and he pulled off the street, got off his bike, came over and helped us up. I mean, the people were wonderful. And we learned a lot about that, about interactions. We learned a lot about each other, about our family. We really grew.
And we learned that, you know, the world isn't always going to be accessible. If you want to do all the things that you want to do, you need to make it accessible and not worry about it. First of all, most of the people in the world are fantastic. When they see that you have a need, I can't tell you the number of people that have dropped whatever they were doing to come and help us, give a little lift, a hand, a pull of a wheelchair. And so if you believe in the goodness of people, then you're set. I mean, most everybody is going to help you. And so that's what we just kind of went on faith and the fact that, you know, we were having adventures and people would see and know that there was a need and be there for us, and they always have been, right?
They were great.
What did you learn about your mom that was different in this experience?
Well, through this trip, but through everything, and looking back, I've learned at how amazingly strong a woman she is. And I think that's where I get a lot of my strength, is because having such a strong, self-confident role model to look up to. No, but that's true, to having someone that's there that knows what's important to her, that knows, and you are raised under that, and watching her interact with other people taught me how to interact, taught me someone that looks in the goodness in people and looks for goodness instead of at the negativity or whatever, makes me a positive person.
Thanks.
But it's really true. I mean, I think I'm very fortunate. I had two amazing role models as parents, and they are now two of my very best friends. So I'm very blessed because of that.
Muffy counted her blessings, but still wanted more. She spoke candidly about her injury and about her dream to ski again.
I just missed it. So I went down to Winter Park and I learned how to monoski. I took a week and learned how to adaptive ski.
Muffy, explain why you have tennis balls in your wheelchair.
Well, to tease dogs, no. I put tennis balls in my chair, or I do different little things because it enables people to approach me, basically for conversation. So people can approach me and ask me about the tennis balls, but not have to directly ask me about my disability. It spurs conversation, and then as we're talking, then they feel comfortable and they can ask more if they want to or not. It's just a way to break down barriers.
Muffy had gotten past the barrier of learning how to ski again, but she'd given up her dreams of competing. Until one day at college when she saw a friend of hers named Peekaboo Street win a silver medal at the Olympics.
It was I think my junior year in college, and it was a Thursday, I believe, afternoon for us. She was over there, so I'm not sure what time of day it was for her. But I was at lunch break or something when it aired, and I was sitting in shorts and a t-shirt, warm, sunny California, and knew that she was in the downhill, so wanted to see it. It was a priority because, you know, having grown up with her and watched her. And then she won, and it was up to that point, the hardest day I had since I was in a chair, because it reminded me how far I was from my ultimate, you know, first goal. Here I am in warm, sunny California, sitting in a wheelchair in shorts and t-shirt, and here she is doing what we always said we were going to do. And accomplishing it, and I was really happy for her. I mean, she did it, she worked hard, she deserved all that, but it's like, bam, all your dreams. It's like, oh, and it just hit hard. But also it spurred in me the desire to get back into it.
They told you that your injuries were too severe, that you really couldn't learn how to monoski. How did you feel when you heard that?
Well, I was taught when I first did it that I could probably get the skill level to ski, but that I'd never be able to get the skill level to race because my injuries were too severe. I have no abdominal muscles. I have very limited back muscles. I'm fortunate I have full arm use, and that's what I got. And they had never, just because someone had never done it before. The equipment hadn't advanced forward, so they'd never seen it done, so they assumed it couldn't be done. That pissed me off, to be honest, because I'm like, wait a minute, you know, this is my goal. This is what I want to do. Don't tell me I can't. I've always been kind of one of those, when people put a limit on me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
Because no one can limit me but myself. Right. I firmly believe that we're the only ones that can really limit ourselves. And if you don't think you can do it, you won't do it. And if you don't try, you definitely won't. So I was going to give it my best go.
And give it her best she did. Muffy mastered the monoski, and almost 10 years after her life-altering accident, she found herself carving out a new life with an old love.
I remember, I'll never forget the day when I pulled my monoski out myself, got in it all by myself, and went up on the mountain and just skied. And I've said before, it's like going back with a best friend. I mean, it was like coming home. That mountain, I grew up on the mountain, I broke my back on the mountain, and now I'm back on the mountain, and it's given me my freedom again. So it's a pretty significant place for me.
When you first joined the U.S. disabled ski team, how did it feel when you went up on the mountain and you saw everybody up there ready to go? Was it something that was challenging to you? Was it something that you felt upset about, sad about, lost dreams?
No, it was hugely challenging, and it still is.
Muffy continues to meet those challenges and has come away with an impressive collection of accolades and awards, to include a bronze medal from the 1998 Paralympics in Nagano, Japan.
You met Gretchen Fraser pretty young. Tell us the story about how she first introduced herself to you.
Well, Gretchen, I didn't know this at first, but she was the first American woman to win a medal in alpine ski racing. And she won that in St. Moritz in 1948. And after she started to do correspondence with me, I started to realize this, and she became my hugest mentor and idol. I looked right up to her. But she lived here in Sun Valley, her and her husband, and they were just wonderful people, very supportive of the Valley, and also very supportive of the up-and-coming athletes. And she would just write me notes. And when I was ski racing, I think I was 14 years old, she just sent me a little card that said...
Well, you have it here, too. Let's bring
I have
this
all her stuff. She would send me random little notes all the time, just saying, we too are proud of your accomplishments. She'd send me a little pin for good luck.
And that's the pin you're wearing right now?
This is another pin that she gave me after I broke my back. But she'd send me lots of little trinkets, little baseball cards signed, you know, that we're behind you, we support you, we love you, keep doing it. Just to that, you know, I think that's something that I've learned from Gretchen that I try and do now with the young athletes. And when I read something in the paper about an athlete here in town, because Gretchen supported me so much, I want to try and be there and support other people.
Give it back.
She was great. After I broke my back, she sent down to the hospital with my father this pin, which was given to her by Senator Averell Harriman before she went to the Olympics in 1948 for good luck. And it was given to her. It was, there's only two of a kind, two that she knew of, and the other one was owned by Jacqueline Onassis Kennedy. And it was a special memento to her and for good luck, and she had kept it with her all the time until she gave it to me. She wanted me to have the same good fortune that she had had in her life.
I was really blown away by something you had written. This is before the accident. You said, I am about success.
Through determination, and I am here to live the best that I can, and through that lead others into the best they can be.
How were you able to still maintain that belief that you wrote?
I've always said disability doesn't change a person, and eventually you will come back to the person you are. You definitely need time to heal. You need to give yourself time to grieve and to go through what you've lost. But once you've gotten through that, you will find your true self again.
We'd love to hear from you, to share your story or learn more about these remarkable women. You can visit us at StoriesFromTheHeart.com.